Okay, good evening, everybody. We are back from closed session. And I forgot to let everybody know that member Seguenza is excused from this evening's meeting. We do have some items to report out. First item, in closed session on a motion by member Zelli and second by member Horace Martin, the board voted 4-0 to appoint Renee Lopez to the position of Director of Educational Services. The second item we have to report out is a majority of the board in closed session voted 4-0 to approve a confidential settlement agreement to resolve a special education dispute in demand for certain educational related costs, including attorney's fees, where the district received waivers and releases of claims in exchange. This is for item 4.2, student versus Martinez Unified School District, case number 2021-090-152. And the final thing to report out from closed session is item 4.5, regarding student number 2021-22-01, head code 4891881. The board took action in closed session by a vote 4-0 to grant a request for a postponement of the expulsion hearing. And that is all we have to start from closed session. And so we can move on to agenda item number 7, which is the pledge of allegiance. Both our communities tonight.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, agenda item number 8 is approval of the agenda, and we have one change to the agenda, right, 16.2.
Please, I'm asking to pull item 16.2.
Okay, with that change, is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Please vote.
Aye.
Full board, all in favor? Aye. Okay. We move on to agenda item number 9, approval of minutes for the regular meeting of October 25th, 2021. Are there any changes to those minutes?
There are none.
Any public comments regarding agenda item number 9? Okay, we'll bring it back to the board for action. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Move to approve the minutes for the regular meeting of
A second?
Second.
Student vote?
Aye.
Full board, all in favor?
Aye.
We can move on to agenda item number 10, which are comments from our student representatives.
Thank you. The school reports for the November 8, 2021 regular board meeting are as follows. Las Fuentes' highlights from the week. We had a very successful and safe Halloween parade. Staff is getting excited to move into our new building. Second graders are just finishing up their poetry unit. Third graders just finished their extreme weather unit. Fifth graders are working on adding and subtracting decimals and fractions. There are no upcoming events. John Muir's highlight from the week. JME students participated in their first of 5 community science workshops this past Friday, November 5th. Community Science Workshop is managed by Newly Collaborative and engages students in hands-on science education for TK through 5th grades. Thank you to JME PTA for funding this program for our students. JME PTA book giveaway is starting on the 18th of November to promote reading amongst all of our students. JME is having an art exhibit and students will have the opportunity to participate in an artist workshop on November 9th in the JMU cafeteria. Upcoming events. November 8th is the PBIS Character Counts Respect Assembly. November 11th is no school because of Veterans Day. November 18th is the ELAC meeting at 3 p.m. And December 7th is the fourth grade walk through California in-house field trip. John Sweat's highlights from the week. Fourth graders had a pumpkin book review where they decorated their pumpkins just like their book character. Fifth graders did some hands-on science and were able to explore real owl pellets. Mule Leaf Science has been doing marble mazes with all grade levels. Upcoming events, virtual PTA meeting tomorrow at 7 p.m. Site council on November 16th at 3 p.m. Morello Park highlights from the week. MPE fourth grade students have enjoyed dissecting squids in the New Carolina building blocks of science curriculum. Pumpkin book report reviews were a hit in second grade classes at MPE. Thank you PTA for the fun trick-or-treat Halloween event. Congratulations to MPE second graders for winning the Spirit Day Color Wars on Friday, and to Mrs. Zotue and Mrs. Alvarez's classes for earning their Eagle Pride 5 awards. Upcoming events, PTA meeting on November 9 at 7 p.m. November 16th is the Panda Express Dine and Donate fundraiser, and the PTA Turkey Trot fundraiser is November 19th. Martinez Junior High's highlights from the week. MJHS wrapped up October with tons of excitement, including a school-wide spirit week, leadership hosted after-school fall fun, and the PTSA hosted Fall Harvest Fest. Students, staff, and families had a blast celebrating. A huge congratulations to Mrs. Boyd, Mr. Riemann, and all of our Bulapalooza performers for the amazing shows they put on Thursday, November 4th, and Friday, November 5th. While we had a limited capacity for family members, we are working to develop mini shows to perform during lunch for all our bullpups to enjoy. WEB leaders presented a lesson to our sixth graders during science with a focus on the importance of working together. Upcoming events. November 11th is Veterans Day, no school. November 12th is the MJHS ELAC meeting at 8:45 a.m. via Google Meet. Link is on the MJHS website. November 12th is the end of progress reporting period. Grade available via Aries on November 18th. And November 16th is the PTSA meeting via Zoom at 7 p.m. Alhambra High School's highlights from the week. Students enjoyed the flag football game this weekend. The seniors won, but the juniors held their own. A huge thank you to the maintenance team who helped with the electrical issues. Last Friday, students were given a presentation that included introducing administration, counseling, mental health services, and office staff, as well as behavior expectations. Student handbook is being updated and will be on the web by the end of next week. Students will be purchasing grateful grams that will be delivered on November 19th. Congratulations to our varsity boys, JV boys, Frosh soft boys, and varsity girls cross country team, who all placed first in the Valley Division DAL cross country championships. Upcoming events. Alhambra Drama Club is presenting All Together Now this coming Saturday, 13th, at 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. in the MGHS auditorium. This musical review features 15 songs from 15 different musicals, choreography by several of our talented students, and even a song performed by our own Mr. Hutchinson. Vicente Martinez Brioni's Independent Study, Martinez Early Intervention Preschool Program highlight from the week. VMHS students have recently begun working on the Loaves and Fishes Culinary Training Internship Program. A small group of students are working with the program 3 days per week, where they are learning professional culinary skills while also helping to provide meals for those in need. Brioni students are continuing to engage in learning in our independent student program. During the month of October, our 3rd and 4th grade students completed actual sugar skulls at home and were able to share their projects virtually. MEIPP students enjoyed an event-filled October with learning and community building. A special thank you to our community partners, Martinez Elite Fitness on Main Street, who had a fundraiser for MEIPP and donated $3,000 to our preschool program to support student activities. We are so fortunate to have such a wonderful partner of schools in our community. Upcoming events. Vicente Martinez High School Psychology Club will be participating in a day-long training with the Contra Costa County Office of Education. The training is being presented by TUPE and will focus on preparing peer educators to help their peers understand the dangers of vaping and tobacco products and learn about free resources they can share with friends and family members. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the VMHS Psychology Club podcast on YouTube. Our latest episode tackles cyberbullying. Martinez Adult School highlights from the week. We are enrolling new students for winter quarter, which starts on November 29, 2021, which is a Monday. Continuing to place students in paid 60 to 90-day internships with local businesses. Upcoming events. Fall Quarter Award Ceremony for English as a second language students advancing to the next level for fall and winter for winter quarter. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach. We'll move on to agenda item number 11, which are employee organization reports. Stephanie, do you have anything? Brenda, comments?
Good evening, board members, district office staff, and our student representative, Kothar. Good evening. I'm always a little bit dismayed when I have to get up here and follow all of the wonderful positive news that Kothar shares with everybody about the good things that are going on in our sites. And then I have to come up here and give the flip side of the coin. But tonight, I'm very happy and grateful to extend that positive news. And on behalf of the Martinez Education Association, offer up a thank you to the district office bargaining team, to our own bargaining team members for what was a much more productive process and a much more positive tone in our negotiations today. And one that we are hoping is a very positive outcome for our staff, our students, and our district as a whole that will make us stronger going forward. That thank you extends also to our board members specifically. During this, what I call COVID time warp and probably over a year's worth of remote board meetings, you all are still a relatively new board, a relatively new collection of board members. But you've already made a historic impact in this process in the days and weeks leading up to today and the work that needed to get done. Through making yourselves available, we want to really thank you on behalf of myself, my co-president, Brenda, and other exec board members and NEA leadership, making yourselves available to problem solve, really ask a lot of questions, find out what's going on from our perspective, and just really appreciate it's that type of collaboration that is really going to allow us to solve a lot of the problems that we have now and to create very good creative solutions going forward. And so I just really want to thank you for that, for taking that time. And it creates definitely a lot of hope going forward for a stronger district for our students and our staff. So thank you very much for today's work and all the work that led up to today.
Thank you, Catherine. And now we will move on to agenda item number 12, which is comments from PTA, the PTA. No comments from PTA this evening. So we'll move on to agenda item number 13, which is our staff board acknowledgements, announcements, and reports. And before we get to 13, 1, 2, and 3, we'll go on to Kothar, do you have anything?
The only thing I'm gonna say is that everybody should come to the Saturday meeting and that today is Miss Tom's birthday, which is the AP Cat teacher at Alhambra. So happy birthday, Miss Tom.
Thanks. Carlos?
Yes, I wanted to recognize Kathy Frazier and Janice Collins for their efforts with the Career and College Development Program, and also to Denise Fuller and announce one of my pet projects for the district is to establish an ACE mentoring program, which ACE is Architecture, Construction, Engineering. We're going to be shooting to have a virtual recruitment outreach to the students of Alhambra, Vicente, and Briones for a program that's going to last from January to June. So that's a 16-week program. They develop a project. They have exposure to construction professionals, architecture, construction engineering professionals, and at the end of the term, we'll be eligible for application for scholarships to put towards college or life after high school. And so we will be doing a recruitment for that team. Hopefully, we're shooting for November 17th. So to get kids to sign up and exposure and introduced into construction. So. But yeah, like I said, Janice and Kathy and Denise for all their efforts. I really appreciate their participation in this program.
Do we have that on the website yet? Do we know?
Probably not.
Okay.
We're yeah.
Courtney?
That sounds really awesome. Great job. I attended last week, the adult school did a virtual trades night that I attended, and it was really great. There was a lot of participation, so I just wanted to say thank you to Suzanne and her team and everybody that happened.
The only thing I have is the Northern California chapter of Associated Builders and Contractors. They're having a local craft competition this weekend, November 13th. It's from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. and it's at their training facility at 4577 Las Positas Road in Livermore. And so they have food, raffle prizes in Venters Road, but it's a good chance for students or alumni if they want to look at trades to go down and check out that competition. So again, it's the Associated Builders and Contractors, Northern California chapter, and it's this weekend, November 13th, from 8 a.m. to 4:30. And Will?
Nothing, no, I'm ready to do the next announcement here.
Excellent. This is an exciting announcement. So let's move on to 13.1.
Excellent. Well, it is my great pleasure to welcome Renee Lopez to her new position. She will be assuming the position of Director of Educational Services. And Renee is a very familiar face to the district office and to the district, and we are thrilled she's going to be our new director. Since the departure of Director Black, Renee has gone above and beyond to support our staff, to work tirelessly in her department, and prepare for the federal program monitoring review, which is just so much fun, and I can't thank her enough. In the past, she served our district in a number of capacities, including as an education specialist, a teacher in charge, and most recently as the assessment and data specialist. Renee has earned her bachelor's degree in psychology from Humboldt State, her ed specialist credential from San Francisco State, and her master's degree from Cal State East Bay. Renee is hardworking, has an amazing can-do attitude, a great sense of humor, and cares deeply for our students. She has an incredible work ethic and has developed strong relationships with all folks throughout the district. We are excited for her to bring her experience and expertise to the team, and we can't thank you enough, Renee. And we'd love to have you come up and just say a couple of things that welcome to the team.
Good evening. I just wanted to say thank you to President Pinelli, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Sinyard, Assistant Superintendent Ms. Rossi and Ms. Hyatt. Thank you for this opportunity. I am truly honored, and I wanted to thank my husband, my family, my friends, my colleagues for all their support. I am just excited and thrilled to continue to working collaboratively with students and teachers, parents, the community member and administration. And I'm excited to start serving Martinez Unified in this new role. Thank you.
Congratulations. And we'll move on to 13.2, which is
I'm just telling her she can take her family home if she'd like.
Thank you.
Okay.
Or just to review, I guess, getting cued, right?
Yeah, no, it's not easy.
Okay, so a quick report on the sale of our final series from our Measure R 2016 bond. We sold on October 26th, we closed on the bond sale for the 30 million. I'm very happy to say that by moving the bond sales up earlier and during this time when the interest rates are extremely low, that we were able to close with an interest rate of 3.14%, but the overall reduction in our borrowing costs compared, the true costs now compared to when we first went out for the measuring bond, first went out for the bond for Measure R, we have saved $46.5 million for the taxpayers in these bond issuance costs by moving them up and going for the lower interest rate. So our original prediction was that we would spend over $250 million in closing costs, and it's now down to 206 or so. So I'm very happy about that. As a resident of Martinez, I'm very appreciative of myself. I look forward to seeing John Sweat break ground in June and Varela Park shortly thereafter.
That's exciting. Thank you so much for that. Any questions, comments from the board?
As a resident of Martinez, I'm also very thankful for you, Howard.
With that, we'll move on to, well, I guess I should, is there any public comments on 13.2? Okay, we'll move on to 13.3.
Okay, so our COC, our oversight committee for Measure K and Measure R bonds met last Wednesday evening. And we meet twice a year, and we're always open and welcome to new members. As a matter of fact, we're short members, so I'm going to ask publicly if anyone's interested, especially business owners in Martinez. That's one area that we do need representation from. It's a twice a year commitment in the fall and in the spring, and what we do is we review the projects, the notices of completion, how we're spending the money, and make sure that everything is spent appropriately. So on Wednesday evening, we met, we reviewed the current Measure R projects, which are Las Juntas, which is going to be occupied 6 months ahead of schedule, give or take a day or two. And John Sweat, which is out for bid right now. Actually, the bid closed today, and we'll be bringing the contract forward at our next meeting. And the Morello Park renovation design plans. I also talked about Measure K. We have about $580,000 left in Measure K. 500 of that was dedicated towards furniture. Should we fall short of furniture in our renovation plan, so that's sitting there. We have used that money for safety and immediate emergency repairs as outlined in the bond language for Measure K. So we're right on target with our expenditures. All expenditures were approved, and we will have our next meeting in April at the new Las Juntas so that people can tour the building, our team can tour the building as soon as we complete our meeting.
So that's a good idea to have it over there, so people can see the new builds.
We had the last one at John Muir before this one.
Oh, nice. Any other questions, comments from the board? Any public comments on 13.3? Doesn't look like it. We'll move on to agenda item number 14. Under Government Code 54954.3, members of the public have the right to address the board on any matter within the board's jurisdiction. However, the board may not take action on any non-agenda item. Individual speakers will be allowed 3 minutes to address the board. 20 minutes have been allocated for this portion of the agenda. Additional time is allowed at the end of the meeting if there was not enough time to speak during public comments. And we do have some public comment cards, so just remember it's 3 minutes. When I call your name, come up, introduce yourself, and then you got 3 minutes from there. You see a little button there. Catherine Mason.
Thank you. My name is Catherine Mason, and I'm a member of this community. I have two requests for the board today. My first request is that I do hear that there's some talk about placing vaccination clinics on school campuses. I would like to ask that this not happen. There is no need for this in our community. I did a quick search on vaccines.gov, and there are already 46 vaccination sites for children 5 years and older within 10 miles of downtown. Parents also need to know that according to the World Health Organization, the physical presence of a child or adolescent with or without an adult accompanying them at the vaccination session is considered implied consent. This is of course very concerning, and the document suggests that non-consenting parents not send their children to school on the vaccination clinic dates, as that would imply consent. The community should also know that at this time, we only have one vaccine that's fully approved. For ages 16 years and older in this country, that's Comirnaty. Comirnaty is actually not even available in the United States. Therefore, the current mandates are essentially requiring our children and adults to take not yet fully approved vaccines. And of course, since they have no liability, the manufacturers, the vaccine injured have no recourse or other resources. You can find more information about this on react19.org or watch Senator Johnson's hearing from November 4th on vaccine injuries. I also want to let you know that as of October 15th, according to the VAERS analysis website, there have been 818,044 COVID vaccine injuries since December 2020. This is equal to almost the number of vaccine injuries for all other vaccines since 1990, including 17,128 deaths, and that's 2 times the total number of vaccine injuries since 1990. My second request in 57 short minutes is to please not implement the governor's state mandate for children. I know that our school district had a 10% drop in attendance during the last statewide school walkout. Next Monday, the 15th, is the next statewide school walkout, and I assume that they will just get larger and larger as the state persists with this mandate. It's really important to recognize also that school districts do not and should not make decisions about health requirements for schools. This exceeds their expertise and their authority. I also want to just add that Dr. Tracy Honig, an epidemiologist and public health expert, studied reports from VAERS and found boys between the ages of 12 and 15 with no serious health conditions were up to 6 times more likely to end up in the hospital after their second COVID shot than getting COVID itself. This requirement to protect others is absolutely crazy because the vaccine only protects individuals, and there's many other studies that are coming out to show that. And I will be happy to bring that the next time at my summit.
Amen, sister.
Thank you, Catherine. Rachel, I saw you walk in.
Go, Rachel.
I'm here to talk to you guys about not allowing our kids to play flag football on Knowles Field on Sundays. I don't know who made the mistake of signing any kind of contracts. This is an NFL supported program. It's done in cities across the nation every Sunday. All of these other districts are finding ways to make this work. I implore you to make the best decisions for these kids, not for the surrounding residents of a football field, people that knew when they bought their homes, rented their homes, did whatever they did to get into their residences, that they would be living next door to a high school, that there would be events happening at this high school that would cause noise. There's not going to be any parking issues, we have a parking lot, therefore it's not going to affect them in that manner. I don't understand why you would not choose to let 175 children play a sport on a field that our tax dollars pay for. These children are, the reason why you all are here is because of these kids. They need your support. Please take it upon yourselves to do the right thing. Let these kids play. Many of them have had 2 years now of not being allowed to play sports, to see their friends, to see their grandparents. Please don't take this away from them. I beg you to not let some silly noise complaints be what drives you to not allow these kids to go out in the fresh air, get exercise, which by the way, will help them in many other ways, but what our biggest concern these days seems to be is COVID. If they're healthy, they're less likely to get sick. Please, please don't succumb to people complaining. I'm sure that they complain about a lot of other things too. So let these kids play football, let them enjoy their lives, let them be kids, and let their parents go watch them thrive and excel and learn how to be part of a team and hopefully one day be sitting in the seats that you are and making the best decisions for the next generation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. Jessica McCoy, did you want to speak to?
I'll take this turn, so this is a really short thing if you wanna read it.
Do I need to fill something out to talk?
Yeah, they're right.
Oh,
That was written, that was
I will read a public comment from Jessica McCoy. Please let Next Level Football use field on Sunday for 175 kids who signed up to play.
Look, these kids are all out here looking at you
Right?
guys, asking you to make the right
Right?
decision for them, please.
Once a bulldog, always a bulldog, right? That's what we're supposed to think about, you know? You start young, you wanna encourage them.
I need to give this to somebody. I let you know.
Just go ahead and make your comment.
Okay, so I just wanna say that the complaint is coming from the community that they don't want the kids to play. I honestly, the stats that I've heard, that the complaint is that they don't want noise at the school, they don't wanna be disturbed, blah, blah, blah. But then on the flip side of that, we have these young kids who don't have any structure or sports to play. And they're gonna go downtown and they're gonna make ruckus and they're gonna find other ways to let off this steam that they could be letting off constructively, playing sports and being a part of the community. So I want you guys to take that into consideration when you're trying to figure out what you're gonna do about this is, do we start this at such a young age that there's nowhere for them to go? Also, the other thing I want you guys to consider is these kids could have had an opportunity to play next level in another city. And now we've all lost that because we signed up to play in our own city. And now the other programs are full. So now these 175 kids just do nothing for 3 months. So you guys need to think about that and think about the fact that these kids need somewhere to go. They need something to do. The level of noise, they should be thankful that they're hearing kids outside and laughter and playing and not kids outside screaming and fighting with one another because they have been brought up to play and to be a part of something bigger than themselves. So I hope that you guys consider that.
Does anybody else want to make a public comment?
Joe, you want to talk?
Yes.
Hold up your sign, Joe.
Hold up your sign. Don't hold it up for the camera. Behind you, see that camera?
May I speak? Is that okay? Do I
Yeah,
need
so-
to fill out a card?
Yeah, after you speak, fill out a.
Thank you. Hello, thank you all for actually listening to us and looking at our kids. I just had a conversation with my younger son, Grayson, on the way out here. I have never, I'm almost 40, I have never lived in the life that we're living right now. Talking to my mother, never lived the life that I'm living right now. She hasn't either. These kids have been through so much. The vaccine mandates, the taking away sports. I can't even tell you as a parent, which I'm sure many of you guys are, having our rights and our choices taken away in a community when we used to be able to trick or treat without a parent. We used to be the freedom that we used to be able to have, right, is now taken away from all of us. And the sheer fact that I can't choose what someone's gonna inject in my kid, I either have to pick that or pick public school. I have a job, right? I work. My husband and I have a company out here in Martinez. I now have to pick if he's gonna get poked with something I don't agree with or go to public school. Now, on top of that, I don't get to put him in the other program that I wanted to register in him. I want him to play in my hometown. We live out here. Once a bulldog, always a bulldog, right? We coach Diablos. We are a hometown team. Why can't our kids play on our hometown field? I don't understand why all of a sudden, all of these rights are being taken away from our so-called freedoms and we're Americans, right? We're all Americans. I have brothers and sisters that have fought for our freedoms. Everything is being stripped from us. If you're not vaccinated, you can't go sit in choice. There's all these things that are being taken away from us. Don't take it away from our kids. Don't take away my public education for my child. What am I supposed to do if I have to stay home and teach my child? What am I supposed to do if I tell my child, you can't go play with all these young kids that are their lives? Their whole 18 months has been stripped. It was the worst 18 months of our entire family, and I'm sure everyone can agree with that, right? We're supposed to learn how to move forward. Let's figure out how to move forward as a community. We are Martinez proud, and I have never felt that in anywhere else I've lived. And it's a shame that we want to take a field away from these children. So I did touch on 2 points. I hope that I made those 2 points because I wasn't planning on talking, but I have never been so passionate about anything in my whole life. I'm a mama bear and you're messing with my kids, guys, okay? So I love Martinez and let's just keep the community strong. We've got to keep it. So thank you.
Any other public comment this evening? Okay. We will move on to agenda item number 15. Oh. Did you want to speak? Okay, go ahead.
Go, Odell. Come on, Odell. Come on, Odell, you got this, bud.
For flag football or any sport, we should have the kids exercise instead of just sitting around all day on the couch watching TV for 8 hours straight. Being outside is better than being inside, exploring the world, getting in trouble, jumping fences, or playing sports. All kids around Martinez should be able to play sports or be able to be outside.
Good job, bud.
Thank you, Odell.
Good job.
Thank you, Odell. I didn't see you speaking there, so. Okay, any other public comments evening? Okay, we'll move on to.
Quick question, what's the start date for the football program?
January something.
January 16th, I believe.
No, it's
January.
It's January something.
And they've already had clinics out on the field in town. I'm not sure where the miscommunication happened with I'm assuming contracts have been signed by somebody to get them to be publicizing it.
Okay, so now we'll move on to agenda item number 15, which is our consent calendar. Approval of the consent calendar means that all items listed here under it are adopted by a single motion unless a member of the board or the superintendent requests that any such item be removed from the consent calendar and moved on to set. Do there any changes to the consent calendar?
There are not.
Any questions or comments from the board about the consent calendar? Is there any public comments about the consent calendar? Okay. I'll bring it back to the board for action. Is there a motion to approve the consent calendar?
I will move to approve.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Stephen vote? Full board, all in favor? Aye. Motion passes, and we'll move on to agenda item number 16.
Thank you for listening, council. Thank you.
You guys.
We gotta put our foot to bed.
Thank you, board. Thank you.
Okay, agenda item number 16 are items for board consideration for action. 16.1 is public health contract for information and possible action.
Thank you. I just wanted to pull this item off of the consent calendar just to have a chance to discuss. I want to thank Superintendent Lynn Mackey. She knew that we were having some challenges dealing with all the contact tracing, and she put us in touch with the Public Health Institute. The Public Health Institute is an organization that will help us with our contact tracing. And we've had some communication with them, great folks. They will help us remotely deal with some of these issues when we have positive cases. They will help us with contact tracing, case monitoring, contact monitoring, education and guidance to parents when a student is put on modified quarantine, help understand the protocols, and kind of help us with monitoring the testing and make sure everybody gets their test so they can come back to school in a timely fashion. And so this contract is for 6 months. It is free of charge. There are some other neighboring districts that are utilizing the Public Health Institute. Appreciate the folks that we've spoken to. Can't say enough about all the contact tracing our current staff is doing. They have gone above and beyond. They've been incredible, but it is, time to get some help. Amir has been great. I thank Amir. He's helping us to make sure that our data sharing policy will be okay. There is a request for this company to have access to our ARIES database because they will need to help call the families for contact tracing. So we want to make sure that the data is secure. Amir is in conversations with the folks from the Public Health Institute. So I just wanted to bring that forward because there was a concern with the database sharing, but in order to make the phone calls to families, we need to make sure that's accessible. Our students will have, names will not be notified, it will be through student IDs and in our initial data share with them. So wanted to bring that to answer any questions and see if we could potentially move on this contract.
Well, do we wait to hear how the security issue is?
May I answer that?
Please, please.
I'm gonna have a meeting with Public Health Institute technical person tomorrow, and I'll counsel you guys more on that to see what's their policy looks like and how they store data, what level of access do they need, what kind of information exactly you want to have access to.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, with that, I think we should probably wait until our next meeting.
No, and understand, it was a quick, again, it was a quick turnaround time. Again, said that was our one concern. We had conversations with them and said, we want to make sure our data sharing process is secure. And so, no problem. I will let them know. There is there's a sense of urgency. They are trying to, get this done as quickly as possible, but I told them that this may be a concern.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good idea. So are they helping with phone calls
Correct.
only, or are they doing emails as well?
Yes, they will do emails, they will do phone calls, they are going to help monitor. We'll still have our district nurse do the initial contact, reach out to the families, kind of help with the initial contact folks, like who's kind of in their circles. And then we'll share that information with them, and then they can help with the second piece with the monitoring and continuing to call close contacts as well. So again, when we get to the secondary level, it is quite time consuming when you've got all the children are in 6 classes, and then you have sports, and it goes from there. So really looking and focusing, especially at the secondary level.
Yeah, I think it'll be helpful. I think it'll free up some of our staff time too. So I like that idea. Any other questions, comments from the board?
I have a few questions, and you answered them with some of your description, but the first question is, it's a free service, which is always, gets my ears perked up because nothing's free. And so this is not a public agency?
It is, no, it's the Public Health Institute.
Well, that's what their name is.
Yes.
Where do they get their funding?
I'm not sure where they get the funding from. I can bring that back at the next meeting. So it was a service that county superintendent, had brought some districts together who were really struggling with contact tracing, and, I will find it for you.
Okay, so along this, second question, when we had this discussion regarding our COVID, our own contact tracing, reaching out, one of the things that was highlighted was seating assignments and knowing how to. Is that going to be revisited? Is something that's going to be shared or a requirement now on the teachers to start documenting, tracking that and providing that information? Is that, what's the?
They already have been, so the teachers have submitted their seating charts to the administrators, and so that's one of the things that we would have to share with, the public health institute would be the seating charts, so we can do our 6-foot radius of kids that are, and again, it's in class, so they're masked, so that does help, but yes, the notifications would be from seating charts as well.
All right, one of the other questions was, you touched on, they're being notified, so email, phone calls, things like. But you mentioned previously having access to Aries, that'll be addressed and reviewed. One of the clauses in the contract, it says that the district authorizes PHI to disclose PI to public health authorities via databases operated by the state. What information is going to be included in the databases?
So that would be who was a positive case. So they contact where the state houses the information about positive cases. That's where the information, that's the other entity that would have. That we report to something called SPOT, and Janelle, correct me if I'm wrong, I do not know what SPOT stands for, but if there's an acronym for the SPOT reporting system, so that, you know. Sorry, I cannot tell you what SPOT stands for. But so we report to an outside agency for our current cases. They would take over kind of doing it at this level.
Okay. And then the last question was another one of the clauses. It says that district shall retain records in each student's education records regarding the articulable and significant threat that formed the basis for disclosure to the parties to whom the information was disclosed. And I guess my question is why, is this something we're already doing, is keeping this information in kids' records, and how does that get separated out as we transfer records to subsequent facilities or subsequent institutions?
So we have kind of our list of who our student with the close contacts are, and so that's my understanding, that's who we would be sharing where the records are. We haven't had a disposal of those records yet, we're still holding on to everything as we just kind of keep our lists, and so I will find out for that for you as well.
Any other questions, comments from the board? Okay, looks like this will be, any public comments on this agenda item? Looks like this will be coming back for November 29th. The November 29th agenda. With that, we are at agenda item number 17, which is additional comments from the public. And we don't need that this evening. And so we have agenda item number 18, comments from the superintendent, board members, and future agenda items. We'll start with Coulthard. Anything?
Yes, I do. So the National Honor Society at Alhambra High School opened up the library from 3 to 4 at Alhambra High School, so the Alhambra Library every Monday. So every grade, any person from elementary to high school, like everybody should come in if they need help with tutoring and or mentoring. And we're gonna have a lot of tutors in the library, and today was our first day. And if you need help, just come in the library and we'll help you out.
So when, I'm sorry, what times and what days?
So 3 to 4 every Monday. We're hopefully gonna do it like for the rest of it, like every single day or every other day. But right now, we're just testing it out for one day to see the turnout.
It's a fantastic item. Thank you. Carlos?
Yeah, so in my conversation with Janice Collins regarding this ACE program, one of the things that she mentioned was trying to get information out to the kids and get it salient. And we talked about emails and even going so far as creating a TikTok account. Just because the mode of communication with the high school level kids is all over the board, and it has to be kind of rapid and to kind of gain get their attention. And polling my son, like, what do you think is the best way? And actually, his idea was actually pretty good, because and Janice actually mentioned this as well, is the only time that we have really a captive audience is during morning announcements or during announcements on the PA system. And the observation my son made was that in some classes, it's very hard to hear, there's too much commotion, or the PA system is not very clear or audible. And so I guess I would ask Julie if we can do some sort of a fact finding report back, figure out what classrooms, we have a captive audience, we want to make sure that we're getting the information that they need to help them to, identify programs and opportunities, making sure that that's going to be the, best way to reach them. We want to make sure that they're actually hearing the message. So we can do something to that effect.
Courtney? Annie?
Yeah, actually I have a couple things. First, I didn't really get a chance to say, and I know she has left now, but I wanted to also extend congratulations to Renee Lopez. I think it's really exciting when we're able to promote from within, and Renee has certainly proven herself to be a vital asset to this district. She also has, over many years of service, built excellent relationships with our teachers and students, and the role that she is in. Those relationships are critical, so I'm really excited that we were able to promote her to that position. I also want to comment on the two things on vaccines, so sort of related. For the walkout that happened, and now I can't remember the date, it's all blurring, but the statewide walkout and now another upcoming walkout, I want to be, we are very fortunate to live in a country where we have a constitutionally protected right to peaceful protests. And for families who would like to protest the mandate, I'd like to remind you that this is happening at the statewide level. I would also implore families to keep their children in school. They have missed so much in the last 18 months. I know if you are opposed to the vaccine mandate, I know that somewhere in there you also know that your child should be in school as much as possible. So I implore families to stay in school and find other ways to protest their beliefs against having a statewide mandate. Again, this isn't at a district level. And then for families who have chosen to vaccinate, it did open up for 5 to 11-year-olds, and I know that we've had the opportunity to add that information into areas for families who are older. Is there a plan to send out messaging to families who can now update their child's vaccine status in areas and directions on how to do that? Okay, perfect. And I know it would be a little bit anyway because none of them are obviously fully vaccinated, so we have another couple of weeks on that. But I just wanted to put that out there on everyone's radar. That's it for me.
Okay, I don't have anything. Julie?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Okay, I think that was a nice, efficient meeting, and with that, we'll adjourn at 7:31.